Well, Donald Trump stood in front of the American people on Tuesday night and gave one of the longest State of the Union addresses that we have seen in at least a half a century. Now, I know, of course, that the first speech like this that the president gives after inauguration is not technically called the State of the Union, but that is neither here nor there. This was a speech filled with self-aggrandizement. It was not attached to reality in any way, shape, or form. He praised the efforts of Elon Musk and Doge, even though these actions are not popular with the American people. He talked about taking over Greenland and how he was going to do it one way or the other. And of course, he had to get his knocks in at the trans community by bringing up transgender mice. All this to say, it was an embarrassment for the United States. It was an embarrassment for the American people. We have an absolute madman in the White House, and he is lighting our country on fire and then laughing in your face about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of the odd events that occurred on Tuesday night. We'll start things off by Melanie Stanbury. She had a sign that says, "This is not normal," and watched how it is ripped out of her hands. And can you guys tell me, did Donald Trump notice this sign? And then he points to it kind of like this over his shoulder, and the guy he's talking to then rips the sign out of her hand. Am I just hallucinating this, or did Donald Trump kind of coordinate the sign being removed from Stansbury here? So as you can see, he rips it out of her hand, then tosses it up in the air. And I just want you guys to imagine for just 1 second, if Marjorie Taylor Greene was holding a sign that said, "Make America Great Again" under Donald Trump, or some stupid shit like that, and one of the Democratic senators came and ripped it out of her hand during a Joe Biden State of the Union address, what do you think the response would be? We all know that conservatives would absolutely lose their minds. It is absolutely insane that this is the world that we are living in. We are seeing people getting dragged out of town halls. We're seeing people's signs ripped out of their hands. These people want to silence dissent. Here Trump is talking about how he was given a mandate. And of course, I told you that he is just not attached to reality.
The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes. We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
So the man you saw on the screen holding his cane in the air, that was Al Green, and he stood up and said, "You do not have a mandate to cut Medicaid, as this new Republican budget proposes to do." And he is exactly right. For those of you that need a reminder, more people voted against Donald Trump in the 2024 election than they did for him. Now, did he win the Electoral College? Yes. Did he win the popular vote? Yes. But there are more people that voted against him than they did for him. So this mandate that they continue to pretend that they have is all a farce. It does not exist. Joe Biden beat Donald Trump back in 2020 by like a 4% or 5% margin. Nobody was claiming that Biden had some overwhelming mandate when it was him. So do not let these people continue on with this narrative. The mandate is non-existent, but they are using it to try to dismantle our government from the inside out. And as I said there, Al Green stood up and said, "You do not have a mandate to cut Medicaid." And so they go on to remove him from the chamber.
Small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41.8% jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
And then, of course, he was removed from the chamber. And I again ask you, if this was Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, any other doofus that you can think of, if Joe Biden had them removed from the chamber during a State of the Union address, I mean, what would be the outcome? What would be the backlash? It's just all pathetic. And you saw Donald Trump up there smiling like a little child. You saw J.D. Vance, get him out of here. These are little fascist freaks. They don't want any dissent at all. They are disgusting human beings. And they are trying to rule like authoritarians over this country. Donald Trump then goes on to bellyache and complain that the Democrats just won't applaud for anything. Petulant man, baby.
And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here.
Well, maybe because you're a terrible, terrible human being who doesn't look out for anybody but himself and his billionaire buddies, maybe if you gave them actually something to cheer about, to applaud you for, maybe they actually would. Remember at the end of the pandemic, or the end of your first term, when you did Operation Warp Speed to get the vaccines, I remember Democrats heaping praise upon you. You cut some red tape so the vaccines could be developed in a more succinct timeline, developing them in what, about a year or so? That was an amazing accomplishment. And people, rightly, gave you a little bit of credit for that. So if you weren't going around tearing down our government from the inside out, if you weren't cutting off federal funding without congressional approval, if you weren't just firing thousands upon thousands of veterans and American workers, maybe you could give them something to cheer about. But of course, that is just not the world we live in. Donald Trump is going scorched earth on America like he's some sort of Russian asset or something. He then goes on to complain about the egg prices. And guess who he blames?
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control. And we're working hard to get it back down. Secretary, do a good job on that. You inherited a total mess from the previous administration. Do a good job.
Was it Joe Biden that was firing hundreds of federal workers that would actually be the ones that would fight back against something like the bird flu? Was it Joe Biden withdrawing us from the World Health Organization? Was it Joe Biden who was doing things that were making the egg prices go higher? Was it Joe Biden who was who is just operating kind of like the bird flu doesn't even exist. I mean, what comprehensive plan has the Trump administration put together to combat the bird flu? That is one of the main drivers of the high egg prices right now. And this whole, well, it's all Biden's fault, is only going to last a couple more weeks. This is your administration now, buddy. You are responsible for what occurs under your administration. That is the standard you set forth when Biden was president, and now we can hold you to that exact same standard. You are the president now. Everything that bad happens in this administration is now on you. So I don't know why or how these people continue to believe that Biden has something to do with this, while Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief right now. Absolutely insane to me. We'll go ahead and look at this one last clip because these people just have no self-awareness. You've got Elon sitting in the gallery, and then Donald Trump comes out and says this.
Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
So as you may have noticed, there was some chuckling, some laughter, some gut laughing, because of course, this is an absurd statement to make. Elon Musk is the most hated unelected bureaucrat of all time. He is the one who is going in without congressional approval, without the appropriate power bestowed to him by the executive. He is going through and cutting federal agencies just like they're nothing. He's going off and shutting federal funding down. He's stopping Ebola prevention, lying about whether or not it was back up and running. I mean, he is the unelected bureaucrat that you guys have made a caricature in your mind for the past decade or so. You have created the things that you complain about. The regular Washington bureaucrats are nothing like Elon Musk. And for you to sit up there at the State of the Union address, or whatever you want to call it, is just foolish. These people are pathetic. They want Democrats to live by a completely different set of standards than they will uphold themselves. And then anything bad that happens, it must be blamed on Democrats. Anything good that happens, well, they can take credit for, even if Trump is the one in the White House right now. These people will never take accountability for anything. They are pathetic and weak humans who have no principles, who have just bent over for Donald Trump and have just usurped all of their power to him because they are so terrified that somebody like Elon Musk might fund a primary against them. These people are cowards. So that was the quote-unquote State of the Union address. Again, it's just an absolute shit show. Every single time we see this idiot speak, he is implementing tariffs that went into effect a couple days ago. The economy outlook is looking pretty grim. And then he's up there blaming Joe Biden for egg prices as he issues a self-inflicted wound to the United States of America by engaging in the dumbest trade war of all times. So I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We've got to build something here on the left that can adequately push back against this right-wing media ecosystem that just shovels shit for Trump every single day. So if you do like what I do here, please do hit that subscribe button. If you want to see how I think that the Zelensky and Trump conversation in the Oval Office might have been a setup or an ambush or a coordinated attack, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.